Linear objects in Vectorworks have an additional attribute available to them in the attributes palette, other than pen and fill style and color. Linear objects include lines, arcs, polylines, 2D polygons, and freehand lines. Line markers are controlled from two main locations, directly by the attributes palette and by the class attributes for the object. However, both of these sets of controls work exactly the same way. With a linear object selected, you can enable and disable each end separately. The marker on the left of the attributes panel will change the start point of the linear object. The one on the right of the palette will change the end point. Each marker end can be controlled separately, or you can click the link button between them so that their styles will always match. If we change the left with linking on, the right will change to match it. The opposite is true as well. The link can be disabled if you want both ends to retain their own separate style again. By default, line markers are set to this solid arrow. Just to the side of the marker, however, is a smaller arrow. Clicking on this will show you the basic list of default line markers. This list includes some of the more commonly used styles, as well as the option to use the class marker style, or to create a custom marker. Selecting Custom will bring up the Edit Marker dialog box. This dialog allows you to create a marker of nearly any shape or size. Root type determines the basic overall shape of the marker. It's best to select the shape closest to what you're trying to create, then modify it from there. Based on which root type you have selected, you may or may not be able to modify some of the fields below. For example, angle would not affect a circular end marker. Fill lets you select whether the marker should match the line it's attached to, have a solid white fill, or no fill at all. Base controls the shape of the marker side that connects to the line itself: flat, arc, angle, or open. Angle primarily controls triangular arrowheads. You can enter anything between 1 and 89 degrees, as 90 degrees or greater would no longer resemble an arrow. Length refers to the length from the tip of the marker to its base. Width refers to the distance from one side of the marker to its opposite side across the line it's attached to. These options will also increase the overall size of the marker, based on the set root and angle parameters. Half tick allows you to only show one half of the marker, and is where you would select which half you'd want to show. Tail will reverse the direction of the marker, in most cases to create a start and end appearance of the overall line, with one marker end having tail disabled and one having it enabled. The thickness options control where the marker gets its line thickness parameters from. Line thickness means the markers will take its thickness from the line it's applied to. Dimension/thickness refers to the thickness specified in the document settings for dimension standards. And custom thickness allows you to use a thickness selected specifically for this marker alone. As a final note, you can change a marker's default settings by selecting No Objects, then changing the marker style. If you do this, then even objects you normally wouldn't want a marker style applied to will have one. This is easily remedied by simply removing them, but it can be frustrating if you don't know where or why it's occurring in the first place. Markers can be applied in a number of different ways to create different dimensioning and call-out appearances. Make sure you're aware of how to use them properly before you unnecessarily spend time creating end markers out of 2D geometry manually.